So this is sort of where I'm at in my life right now. I'm going through this phase of really trying to fine tune my skills as a self taught artist. And that process is actually teaching me a lot of things regarding my life and how I want to live my life and how I just want to carry myself as a person. So it all really stems down to um kind of just this limbo repeating cycle that I think many of us find ourselves in, living in like this modern sort of age where there's just stimulation everywhere left and right, and there's so many things trying to steal our attention constantly, and it can be really really difficult to truly listen to yourself and return back to your body and mind and just feel at ease, and that's kind of where I found myself in the last couple months, trying to juggle, you know, my work, my future career, schooling, and then also just being an artist and having that artistic desire fulfilled within my sort of day to day life and practices. And I guess finally I'm starting to reach this point where I'm starting to really see the beauty in just embodying yourself artistically throughout your day to day life, expressing yourself and working consistently on your craft. Um, I've been figure drawing for the last couple of months. I am self taught too, so it is also, I find myself going through a lot of learning curves and whatnot. And if you're a self taught artist, you 100% can relate on just, learning from the mistakes and feeling overwhelmed and whatnot. But this period that I'm in where I'm just trying to learn as much as possible, in terms of being a self-taught artist, and then using the skills for illustrations where I'm able to really express my emotions in a deeper sense. It's bringing me so much more fulfillment than the usual things that we chase after living in this sort of modern age. Um, I'm doom scrolling less and less and less, and I'm also relying on nicotine less and less and less. And that's crazy because at one point I never really thought I'd get to say that, because a lot of the times as artists we pair that sort of stimulant, any sort of stimulant, with our artistic craft, and it was rough just trying to get on with my creation and my artwork without having the constant stimulation of nicotine, and then just trying to regulate myself or be disciplined while using it, but then inevitably kind of just overusing it and putting so much stress and dysregulation in my nervous system. I found myself quite anxious a lot of the times because just the amount of stimulation that was going on and so many things that I was just putting in my body. I'm a barista, and I remember at one point, just to cope with the stress of, being a young adult and trying to figure out your life and balancing education and passions and figuring out yourself, and being all existential just to get through that stress. I was having like 7 shots of espresso by the end of my day, along with, nicotine, and that combination together over time, I've noticed has, it's done quite a wreck on my mental health. And I'm just glad to say that in this period that I'm going through right now, I'm just finally starting to really regulate myself and take myself away from this mumbo jumbo. And it's just, yeah, I'm finding it through art, and it's so beautiful, honestly. It's, I guess a lot of us can relate, where we have this sort of mindset. We're constantly chasing like the next high, this next dopamine rush that hits our brain, and we feel so freaking good. But, you know, then we start to outsource that dopamine through stimulants and, yada, 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 instead of relying on our about on our body's like natural reward system. And I'm not saying that stuff is entirely wrong, because believe me, I like to enjoy myself too. But I think that there's a piece of dust and I'm blowing it. I just finding peace through regulation and art. I guess that's what I can say. And I'm not just doing it through art, though. Art is kind of sort of my main medium as of right now. I am a singer songwriter, so but I'm going through like a sort of music slump, and I can't really, you know, I can't find the sort of musical inspiration at this point in my life right now. So just making a lot of art, improving myself as a self-taught artist. I am reading The Stand by Stephen King right now, and it is a giant novel. Um, and I only just started, but I recently finished this one book called 1Q84 from Haruki Murakami. And so I've read Norwegian Wood and 1Q84. If you read Haruki Murakami, you'd know. One of my favorite authors, for sure. But I'm also finding regulation and peace through reading. And I also bought myself a Switch about like 2 months ago. And let's say I'm in college now, and I haven't been a gamer since middle school, early high school. But now that I'm trying to just regulate myself and stop doom scrolling and using nicotine and all that stuff, actually finding a lot of clarity through gaming. I'm playing Nier Automata right now, and I'm also playing Breath of the Wild. And a lot of the times, the RPG style games definitely get me overwhelmed, but it's a sort of overwhelm that I like to fight through. Getting through all the side quests, and especially the storytelling is so inspirational. And I think as an artist, you can really, you know, put that inspiration into your work. And I think Nier Automata is such an emotional story thus far. Um, and yeah, it's quite existential, and I find myself reflecting on the themes discussed in that game pretty often too. But I never thought that at this point in my life I'd return to gaming, like something that I was doing in middle school. But it's strange. I'm finding a lot of people on YouTube who are just at this point tired of the usual things that steal our attention, and they want to return to their livelihood. And I think that's beautiful, cutting out all that doom scrolling and constant consumption of things and replacing it with something so sincere and beautiful as like a relaxed gaming session with coffee. Yeah, I'm watching a lot of people on YouTube just like make those really cute videos of like gaming and coffee and whatnot. And I think that's so cool and so sincere. And yeah, as a barista, I really do see the therapy and joy in such a habit. Um, yeah, for the rest of today, I mean, my the rest of today, my day sort of just started. I'm likely gonna be going to a cafe. I like to cafe hop on my days off from work, and I'm also school doesn't start till one more month, so I'm kind of just trying to use this time wisely, have fun in the process too, and yeah.